Yeah, Mayor, I'm here. I
Yes.
just I just had to finish up a work deal.
zonke iingilosi ezizibhekile zaziletha kulo mhlaba zaze zaphinde zadipaka. Nkosi yami siyabonga makhelwane.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you very much for that performance titled Greetings. So welcome to this evening. I would like to begin by acknowledging that tonight's ceremony is being held on Kalapuya Ilahi, the traditional indigenous homeland of the Kalapuya people. The Kalapuya people have been stewards of this land for thousands of years. When the white settlers arrived in this fertile valley in the 19th century, they forcibly removed the Kalapuya, as well as other tribes in Oregon. The displacement and loss of ancestral land was compounded by the loss of truth in history and of recognition of the role of Native peoples in the origins and strength of our city today. Tonight, I offer to the Indigenous First Nations people of our community, both past and present, acknowledgement of your resiliency and contributions to our community, while also humbly acknowledging what was taken from you. Today, Kalapuya descendants are citizens of the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde Community of Oregon and the Confederated Tribes of the Siletz Indians of Oregon. They continue to make contributions in their communities here and across the land we now refer to as Oregon. We express our respect to all displaced Indigenous people who call Eugene home.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 2022 State of the City. My name is Jennifer Ye, City Councilor for Ward 4, Council President, and your host for tonight. We are honored and delighted that you are here to help us celebrate the things we accomplished this past year, the people who have made such a wonderful community, and to set our goals for the future. We were all just treated to a wonderful performance by Michael Moloi, accompanied by John Mambira, Rady D, and Joshua Caraco. Please join me in appreciating their opening performance. We'll hear from them again later on in the event. I would like to begin by introducing the mayor and the members of the Eugene City Council. Councilor Matt Keating from Ward 2. Councilor Alan Zelenka from Ward 3. Councilor Mike Clark from Ward 5. Councilor Greg Evans from Ward 6. Councilor Claire Surratt from Ward 7. She was not able to join us tonight from her family crisis, but she is here with us in spirit. And Councilor Randy Groves from Ward 8. And Councilor, and Councilor Emily Semple from Ward 1. And Mayor Lucy Vinis. I would also like to recognize the members of the executive management team of the City of Eugene. Our city manager, Sarah Maderi. Assistant city manager, Katie Hammett. There they go. Our city attorney, Catherine Brotherton. Our police chief, Chris Skinner. Our interim Eugene Springfield Fire Chief, Scott Cockrum. Presiding judge for Eugene Municipal Court, Greg Gill. Our Central Services Director, Mia Cariaga. Our Planning and Development Director, Denny Bro. And our Public Works Director, Matt Rodriguez. Our Library, Recreation, and Cultural Services Director, Renee Gruby. And our interim police auditor, Leah Pitcher. Also, on behalf of the City Council, I want to take a minute to thank a number of individuals who have served on some of our standing committees that make recommendations to both the City Council on policy issues and advise city staff. The following individuals completed their terms or moved on in 2021. And I want to recognize them for their time, their talent, and their expertise. On the Budget Committee, and I also want to apologize for any names. Please forgive me if I do not get them 100% correct. Budget Committee, Sean Londahl. The Civilian Review Board, Rick Rosetta and Lindsay Foltz. From the Cultural Services Advisory Committee, Buzz Calders. From the Housing Policy Board, Norton Cobell, who passed away this year, and his service is deeply missed. The Human Rights Commission, Bonnie Souza, Joel Eboa, Serena Markstrom, and Rick Guerrera. From the Police Commission, Amanda Mikulski. From the Sustainability Commission, Howard Saxton, Zachary Mulholland, Kelsey Zever, Doug Edwards, and Jim Ball. And from the Toxics Board, Marcus Baxter and Jason Ormsby. I sincerely apologize if we missed anyone. We want to thank you all again for your service to the city. Our next video features each counselor's thoughts about what we have accomplished together in 2021 and what we are looking forward to in 2022. And we're all seeing it for the first time together. So I hope you will all enjoy it with us.
The reason why I'm so interested in city government and why I think it's so important is it's the closest you can get to people, right? You know, if you work at a state level or a national level, you don't get to see people on a daily basis and have that back and forth and really hear people's personal stories. But as a city elected official, I do. I get to have those one-on-one conversations with people. It makes the job so much more fulfilling because you can see the impact of what you do.
We're doing good work, and it's challenging, and people have a lot of feelings about what's happening in our city right now. We're frustrated. We all care. We're all doing the very best we can.
The plan to develop the former Lane Community College building downtown, the old Montgomery Wards building. The project is dubbed the Montgomery. There's more than 162 units. It was a pleasure to see council strongly support the development of the Montgomery. It'll be open in 2025, around 160 some units, half of which will be affordable housing units. The other half are market driven, but 10 of the units will be available through the Hope and Safety Alliance, formerly known as Women's Space. That's a great accomplishment. I'd love to see more of that profit partnership as well as a hybrid of the affordable housing units and market-driven units.
One of the biggest accomplishments of this past year is finding a home for City Hall. We were not going to be able to build a City Hall. We did not have the full resources and money to do that. But now that we have collaborated with Lane Community College and we are sharing space in the downtown center, the Spieldy Center, I think that that is what is going to work for the future of the city.
Well, this past year, I believe that we made progress on our unhoused challenges. I think we made progress on our affordable housing and creating more housing and opportunities for housing. We also made advancements in our transportation system, and we have started the process of implementing Climate Action Plan 2.0.
Really excited about getting the updates to our accessory dwelling unit code. Proud of the fact that I was part of helping draft a statement condemning anti-Asian hate and hate crimes that a majority of City Council signed on to. And very excited that I got to meet with Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg to help lobby our area for much needed transportation infrastructure.
I think our three main accomplishments this last year have been getting the safe camp and tent sites up and running, doing some more affordable housing in the 1059 Willamette project, and also finally starting the farmers market after many years.
Farmers market, it's exciting to watch it growing up. It's being built with cross-laminate timber, which is made out of local trees. It's not plywood, and glued together so it crosses in a T, and it's extremely strong. And the whole building is going to be made from this. So it's innovative, it will be a showpiece, and it is, the trees and the production are south in Riddle, so it is a local effort. And I think both for business stimulation, supporting our local agriculture, which is so important, and helping our climate change, making this without a lot of concrete, and that makes a difference. I'm really proud of it. I'm looking forward to it. And I also think it's great we can use it for more than just the farmers market. So it will be a benefit to the community at large, even if you don't like vegetables.
One thing I'm really excited about is all the active transportation projects that have gotten done, especially in North Eugene. We finished up a project, the Northeast Eugene Livable Streets Project, which added a lot of new street crossing infrastructure, so making street crossings safer for bikers and walkers. Safe routes to school added a bunch of new things throughout the town. One in my area were speed flashers at Holt Elementary to alert drivers to slow down during school hours, which is really helping the area to get our speeds down. But also there were improvements to the bike paths along the river, and the 13th Street protected bikeway and Preece Trail got some upgrades. So anyone who likes to walk or bike or roll around Eugene probably is experiencing some improved infrastructure over the last year.
And I've been really proud of our business community, who I believe have really stepped up to not only provide places for the unhoused to occupy on their own properties. Some have come up with property that could be used for the safe sites, and they're working collaboratively with our city and county as we try to wrestle this problem that is bigger than just the city of Eugene. Another accomplishment was the opening of the Echo Hollow Pool, which serves all of West Eugene and really beyond. It's a great investment in our youth and in our community, and keeping people active and in a healthy way, and really proud to see that come to fruition.
Well, 2022, we have a lot of things that we're working on, progressing on, but I think three that are really important for me going into the new year are our housing, our climate recovery, and equity. And I picked those three only because they converge, really. I mean, a lot of our issues with climate are related to housing and how we build our housing and what we do inside that housing. And equity really kind of flows through all of these concepts of how are we spending money, how are we ensuring everyone gets what they need in our community.
But one of the other things that we've been working on is the community safety initiative. We implemented the payroll tax to do that. How we're going to reformulate that is going to be a big issue in the first part of 2022, but also we have some recommendations on police policy that we are looking at. That's going to be another big heavy lift for the city council to work through. None of that is simple, none of that is easy, all of it is controversial, and so it'll be something that we'll be working through over the next 6 months or so, and I think it's going to be a big challenge to get there, but I have full confidence in this council that we'll be able to get there and make some headway on and making sure that the Community Safety Initiative, CSI, actually does what the community wants in terms of community safety, and that the police reforms are done in a way that most people can say, yeah, those make sense.
As we continue our work to move our unhoused off the streets, we will continue to work on the managed camps, trying to address the mental health challenges that are so pervasive in that population, and also substance misuse, and trying to get people into treatment and help them achieve a better life. At the same time, we also need to be cognizant of crime and how we address that. So these are challenges for our next year.
I know these years have been really hard for all of us and really challenging, but I want people to remember that this is Eugene. This is the place we love and thrive. And with all of us working together, we're going to make it even better.
One thing I know for sure is the work is not easy. It is difficult, hard work, but we need to roll up our sleeves and all of us work together for the betterment of our community. Let's make this the city we all want to live in.
Mayor Vinis will now present the 2022 Bold Steps Award.
Thank you so much, Councilor Ye, and thank you. It was great to hear those comments from all of my colleagues on council about their accomplishments for the past year and where we're going. And now we have an annual opportunity to celebrate another valuable community asset, our local businesses. The Bold Steps Award highlights businesses that balance the needs of people and planet with the goal of prosperity and embody these ideals through transformational commitments to sustainable business practices. To be eligible for this award, applicants must be Eugene-based and must be certified through Bring's Rethink Business program, which evaluates a business's commitment to workplace conservation actions. The Rethink program is currently in the process of expanding its certification process to include equity, inclusion, and resilience initiatives. Businesses certified through Rethink that apply for the Bold Steps Award then go a step further by identifying innovative triple bottom line practices that set them apart in their respective industries. Tonight, we announce the winner of the 2022 award. But first, we'll show you more about the bold steps each finalist business is taking. The winner of tonight's award will have the Bold Steps trophy delivered to their business to display for 1 year, as well as receiving additional marketing support from the city. So let's take a few minutes now to watch the video to learn more about the finalists. Thank you for joining the City of Eugene in celebrating 3 local businesses that have been selected as finalists for the 2022 Bold Steps Award. This year's award finalists are leaders in their respective industries, demonstrating how to thrive economically while putting the health and well-being of their employees and the environment first. I'm pleased to announce our 3 finalists: Pak Tech, a family-owned local producer of 100% recycled and recyclable secondary packaging; Summit Bank, a locally owned business bank whose mission is giving back to the community; and Arcimoto, Eugene's very own electric vehicle manufacturer. These are our 3 Bold Steps Award finalists. Let's take a moment to find out more about them.
Pak Tech is a facility located here in Eugene, Oregon, and we also have a facility in Cottage Grove. And we produce multi-pack handles for the food and beverage industry. The thing I like to say about that is not just plastic, it's recycled plastic. We started our goal in 2012 to be 100% recycled content, and we've kept out probably 50,000 tons of plastic out of the environment.
Our products are made from recycled RHDP products, so they come from unpigmented containers like milk jugs and juice jugs and household cleaning containers and things like that. Those products are then brought to a manufacturing location where they make a resin to make our handles. We've to date repurposed over 750 million milk jugs worth of plastics that were designated for landfill, incineration, or out into the environment.
And it's actually a huge undertaking that we go through in order to keep our products sustainable and in the recycling stream. And it's extremely important for the company because it's a cultural thing. And I mean, it goes from the owners of the company all the way down to the employees. And that culture is put out here.
And one of the things that also really proud about is our Grassroots recycling program. We know that consumers that purchase our products want to recycle these handles. So we started a Grassroots program where we provide bins and signage. We're in the 500 plus participants across the country. Those are breweries, pubs, retail outlets, etc., that have joined that network and provide locations for people to bring their Pac-Tech handles.
It's close to my heart as far as the environmental issues that are going on out here. And it's close to my heart to be with a company that actually cares about the people. Cares to an extent to where they're ensuring their safety and they're ensuring that they have a good, steady job. We offer tremendous benefits to employees, all the way from medical, dental, eye, all the way to a bonus program that every employee participates in at every level.
I think at the end of the day that people understand the importance of solving a very complex problem. You know, the whole recycling issue in the United States is kind of broken, and so being a part of a very complex problem and helping solve that problem is something that I think all the employees can get behind and feel good about doing.
It humbles me, and I know it humbles everybody in the company, and they're proud to be a part of the Bold Steps Award, and the fact that we were actually chosen to participate in that and be a finalist in this. Obviously, we all hope we win. We do put a lot of effort out for the community and the environment, and again, it's just a very humbling thing to be a part of that.
Summit Bank is a community-minded business bank that is headquartered in downtown Eugene. What we fundamentally believe as an organization and as a group of colleagues is in the power of giving back, not only financially, but with our time and our resources. And I've never worked with a better group of people and a more dedicated group of people. When the pandemic started, one of the first federal programs that was put together was the Paycheck Protection Program. During that time period, we were able to help hundreds of businesses with their loans, therefore saving about 10,000 local jobs. Our team came together and decided that we really wanted to help those who were a part of that group as listed by the CARE Act. Minority-owned businesses, service-disabled veteran businesses, female-owned businesses, and then small businesses located in the most rural parts of our county and our state. What we decided to do was take $150,000 from our PPP loan proceeds and give that back into microloans. We were able to partner with a CDFI headquartered in Springfield called Community Lending Works, and they helped us administer up to 5,000 loans per business to a very underserved group of people.
I think the key thing with where Summit Bank is, they had a similar mission alignment as we did, is they wanted to make sure that they helped the community first. We deployed about $12.5 million in 2020. And that's huge for a small organization where generally we were deploying $3 to $3.5 million. These businesses would not have had access to the capital if it wouldn't have been for them. The money came directly from them, which was just an amazing opportunity for us to reach out to the local community, but it really showed Summit Bank has the heart to help the greater business network that care about the community and even the smallest, most vulnerable business.
At Summit Bank, we believe that our people create our culture, and we do a lot to be able to make them feel valued and empowered. All of our colleagues are encouraged to volunteer up to 3 days of paid leave, doing something for a nonprofit segment in our community. But we have 85 people that are coming downtown every day, that are going to restaurants, that are buying cookies, utilizing services. I think that ability to help other small businesses just by showing up and coming in every day has helped us show that we're a good place to work, and really that it's important to be stewards of our community.
This is Arcimoto. We build these super cool, small, efficient electric vehicles. It falls in between a bicycle and an automobile.
This is the fun utility vehicle. Our mission is to get as many people driving electric as possible so we can really make a dent in the emissions that are responsible for climate change. This is a vehicle that someone can buy today, even keep their gas-powered vehicles, save it for long trips, but use this for the vast majority of everyday trips.
This thing is super efficient. It has the equivalent of 173 miles per gallon, about 102-mile range, mixed use, and causing a shift in transportation.
We're not only dealing with transportation today, we're dealing with the future of transportation. And I know that's what everyone is excited about. This is one of the most forward-looking companies in the entire EV space, let alone transportation.
You know, this whole story is about how do we make a difference in our community, and then how do we scale that to other communities. So, you know, local businesses using our small delivery vehicle makes a difference.
We've done a pilot program for our rapid responder EMS vehicle with the City of Eugene Springfield Fire Department. We've also done programs, a Deliverator program with Mountain Rose Herbs, and also Hyphy Wellness, a local mushroom delivery company, just to know that we're paving the way for small footprint, three-wheel electric vehicles, something that can become mainstream. I think that just puts a smile on everyone's face and keeps us all excited to get to work every day.
My team is extraordinary. You know, they're not only brilliant, but like they come together and co-create something that hasn't been created before. And they're all passion driven.
Our founder, Mark Frohmeyer, is from Eugene, has deep Eugene roots. Instead of going to sort of a bigger city, we thought this would be a great way to get this movement started, but really provide jobs for our community here in Eugene. We have about 250 new green tech jobs and growing.
You know, there's no real playbook on how do you create an extraordinary world-class culture, but every day we endeavor to take that on. And like, my guys and gals are passionate, you know, so they're driven. They believe in what we're creating in the world, and so that drives them forward. By now, Mark Frohmeyer and myself, the founder, have been told over 1,000 times that this can't be done. You know, they say it takes about 3 seconds for someone to kill your dreams. Like, don't let them do that. In the face of no, or it can't be done, just get up every morning and scrap for things that really matter in our community and build it out. We have remarkable people in this community. There's nothing we can't create together.
We hope that we've inspired some other companies around here to continue to take bold steps, and it's going to take all of us working together to solve this problem. And I think the most important thing we can do is rethink how we've been living our lives and take steps in a positive direction. So thank you, City of Eugene.
Businesses like these are assets to our community and continue to innovate and inspire us with their commitment to the triple bottom line. Thank you, finalists, for taking bold steps in business leadership, and thank you, viewer, for joining us in celebrating our 2022 Bold Steps Award contenders. My apologies, I was struggling with the last minute with something that popped up in the middle of my screen right where I needed to work. So thank you all, our bold steps. It was exciting to watch the videos and see the work that you have done. We are honored and proud of all of the work. And so this is my moment in which I get to announce the winner. And I am delighted to announce that this year's winner is Summit Bank. And congratulations, Summit Bank. I understand that they are, we were hoping to have Jenny Bennett and Craig Wanachek here. I'm understanding that they're not able to Zoom in at this time. So I hope that you will all extend your appreciation and gratitude to them for their leadership in our community, and extend my deepest appreciation to Pac-Tech and to Arcimoto as well for your extraordinary contributions to building the future that we want and need in this community. So thank you for taking those wonderful, bold steps. And we encourage all Eugene businesses to ask themselves if their business has what it takes to be the next Bold Steps winner and to apply for the 2023 award. And now I am pleased to move on to the next of my award announcements in this State of the City. And this is really one of the very best things I have the privilege to do every year is to recognize individuals and organizations in the community who demonstrate excellence in leadership, a focus on building partnerships, and outstanding initiative in service to their fellow humans through this annual Community Service Award. And I am pleased this year to present this year's Community Service Award to one organization and to two individuals who truly went above and beyond to help us move forward through some challenging, important, and community-defining issues and situations in our community. Our first award recipient is St. Vincent de Paul Homeless and Emergency Services Team and Director Roxanne O'Brien. St. Vincent de Paul is the largest human services provider in our area. They are a critical partner that has stepped up year after year to help the city address the need for shelter beds. From the Egan Warming Centers and overnight parking program to Dusk to Dawn and the Eugene Service Station, they operate many of the lowest barrier day and night shelter options in the community. St. Vincent de Paul is always ready and willing to try new models. More than once, they have expanded their capacity on a short time frame to provide safe places for people to sleep. This year, St. Vinis was quick to agree to operate the first safe sleep site for vehicles at 310 Garfield, which offers yet another new model to diversify shelter options for our community. We look forward to ongoing fruitful partnerships with St. Vincent de Paul in pursuit of a more just and compassionate community that serves and supports everyone. In gratitude for their tireless work, I present somebody needs to mute, it sounds like. Go. In gratitude for their tireless work, I present to the St. Vincent de Paul Homeless and Emergency Services Team a certificate of appreciation that reads, in recognition of your outstanding contribution to the community, providing compassionate and generous services and support to the most vulnerable among us, and your steadfast willingness and commitment to help meet ongoing emergency needs. And I am hoping that we have Roxanne O'Brien in a spotlight.
Thank you, Mayor Venice. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, we can.
Thank you and all the public officials and those present tonight via Zoom. On behalf of St. Vincent de Paul Homeless and Emergency Services Team, we're honored to be recognized for this award. Our team, as you said, at St. Vincent de Paul is comprised of dozens of individuals with the most incredible, hardworking, compassionate, and humorous staff. It is an honor to work side by side with them each and every day. In the past 2 years, since the COVID crisis hit this area, this team has reacted again and again with humor and enthusiasm. Within 48 hours, as you said, we opened 2 COVID respite shelters at the fairgrounds. Again, with 48-hour notice, we opened up a distribution center for the victims of the fires up the McKenzie. In addition to these, a smoke relief center, 2 motels for the unsheltered homeless on Franklin Boulevard with vulnerabilities to COVID. And just recently, the 54 vehicle safe sleep site at 310 Garfield. I would also like to express my thanks to our community members and our partners, Willamette Family, Whitebird, HIV Alliance, Carry It Forward, and Everyone's Village, just to name a few. I would especially like to recognize a few of the leaders on this team. Foster Martinez, who is the director of our Veterans and Supported Housing Services. Mike Yoshioka, who is the director of our Youth and Family Services. And Michelle and Caleb Pollard, who work tirelessly to accomplish all these goals. With their leadership, we have housed over 1,000 individuals in the last 12 months. Again, Mayor Vinis and all present, I would really like to thank you for this award.
Thank you and congratulations. We are grateful for your service.
Thank you.
My next award is to Alex Reyna. Alex Reyna has been a key partner in enabling the City of Eugene to connect with the Spanish-speaking community members through the creation of a digital news show, Aquí en la Ciudad. His program delivers public service announcements and information in Spanish from the city's police department, Human Rights and Neighborhood Involvement Office, Library, Recreation and Cultural Services Department, and the city's waste prevention program, and more. He has helped connect Eugene's Spanish-speaking residents with critical information about COVID and about public safety. Born in Mexico, Alex has been a member of our community since 1994. His personal experience in struggling to access community services and engage in civic life inspired him to found VIII Multimedia, Spanish language online radio station. Alex evolved VIII from an entertainment-based media outlet to a community resource-based media organization and began working with nonprofit organizations, local businesses, and government entities to share information, connecting listeners with relevant and educational local content. In honor and appreciation of his past and ongoing service to our community to create a stronger, healthier, and more inclusive city for everyone, I am proud to present to Alex Reyna a certificate of appreciation that reads, "In recognition of your outstanding contribution to the City of Eugene, providing outreach to Spanish-speaking community members by partnering on efforts to deliver important public service announcements and information in Spanish from the Police Department, Human Rights and Neighborhood Involvement Office, and Library and Recreational and Cultural Services Department." And I am hoping we have a moment to bring Alex into the spotlight.
Hi, muchísimas gracias everyone for the opportunity to be here. I want to thank you, Mayor Vinis, for this award, for too many different people that work in the city that have made this possible. I'm very humbled to be awarded and recognized for this work. And I wanted to point out that it's not just my work, it's a collaborative effort for many different people in our community, and for people that help me get through this process of being a communicator and providing this information to the Spanish-speaking community. I want to thank a few people. I would like to thank everyone, but I don't think I have enough time because many people have contributed to this effort. But I want to thank Lorna Flormo from the Human Rights and Neighborhood Involvement, Beatriz Hernandez from Police Auditor's Office, Devron Musgrave from Waste Prevention and Green Building, Billy Hernandez, and Mari Soyo from Peterson Barn Community Center, Melina McLaughlin and Chris Skinner from EPD. And of course, thank you so much for allowing me to take all this information that is essential for the entire community and bringing it to the Spanish-speaking community. I want to thank my mother, my wife, my kids that drive me to be the best I can be every single day, and to the Spanish-speaking community who have supported me and trusted me as to be a conduit of information back and forth between them and the City of Eugene and all of the City of Eugene partners. Muchísimas gracias a todos. It is an honor. Thank you for this award.
Thank you so much for your service to our community. We are grateful for all of the connections you are creating and the bridges that you are building. Thank you so very much and congratulations. And my final award this evening is to Pastor Gabe Piavich of Everyone Church. Pastor Gabe Piavich is co-leader of Everyone Village, a new community for unhoused people in Southwest Eugene. Pastor Gabe, as he is commonly known, began his ministry among the unhoused more than 2 years ago while he was pastor at Westside Christian Church. Last year, Pastor Gabe's outreach expanded to unhoused people in West Eugene, particularly those who were living in vehicles. His efforts, including helping people move to the first safe sleep site near West 2nd Avenue and Garfield Street, are greatly valued by the city of Eugene. After forming Everyone Church, Pastor Gabe began to look for property to establish a safe place for people to live off the streets. This led him to an agreement with Arlen Rexius to establish Everyone Village on Rexius property next to the future Maddie Reynolds Park. The village will allow up to 60 people to live in small structures and vehicles, and they are now beginning to move into that location. In grateful recognition of Pastor Gabe's commitment, positive impact on the lives of our homeless neighbors, and his effectiveness in working with the city and the community, I am proud to present this certificate of appreciation. It reads, in recognition of your outstanding contribution to the city of Eugene, efforts to bring positive, creative, and healing solutions for the unhoused individuals living in our community. And I'm hoping we have a moment to bring Pastor Gabe into the spotlight.
Hey everybody, I'm live here from Everyone Village itself, as just mentioned, and Mayor and Council and all of city leadership. Thank you so much for this great recognition and honor. I can't begin to describe what the summer of 21 has meant for me and my family, for things in West Eugene. Out of the worst of things, sometimes comes the best of things. And I think that's the beginning of what's happening in West Eugene. I could list 1,000 names, all the business leaders out here from Rich Locke to Mr. Rexius to Mr. Coughlin. Randy, Councilor Groves was out here all summer helping us out. And then the team started to come together on that property. And I was blessed to have Heather Salicki join as co-leader. And now we're building a team around here. And we are happy to announce that we're almost at 20 folks just moving in the last week as we've opened up. It's a huge blessing and an honor. And we're not going to stop. And so if you thought the summer of 21 was intense around this place, wait till next summer. We're going to keep on keeping on. And I have a tremendous amount of hope for this town, that the collaboration that's been hinted at and expressed here amongst the businesses that were noted with the Bold Award and now these community service awards, this town is going to make its mark in this new decade through collaborative efforts that change the game from the ground up. I'm happy to be a part of it. And thank you again for this honor and recognition. I look forward to the next few years here in Eugene as we really get out in front of this crisis that we're all working so hard on. It's going to be good. We're going to do it.
Thank you so much. We're grateful for your work. We're grateful for your can-do spirit and your confidence in the future, and makes us all feel optimistic of what we have ahead. So thank you again. Thank you, all of you, for your invaluable contribution to the community and your outstanding leadership and dedication to building partnerships and success in addressing local challenges with solutions. And finally, before we close this section of the meeting, I would like to take a moment to recognize the long-standing volunteers who give countless hours and diligent service in a wide range of roles to support our community. The list is a long one, too long to read in this setting, but we are deeply appreciative of all of you who dedicate your time to restore and preserve city parks and natural areas, who volunteer to assist the police department, who've maintained international relationships through our sister cities programs, and to my newest volunteers, the Mayor's Youth Advisory and the Mayor's Business Advisory Boards. Your commitment of time, insight, and hard work is irreplaceable and invaluable. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Vinis. 2021 was a hopeful yet challenging year. And although we as a community have many serious and ongoing issues to address, there is still much to celebrate. I invite you to now enjoy a video presentation of some of the highlights and of the accomplishments we achieved together as an organization through some trying times.
2021 was a year of collaboration and connection as Eugene continues to respond to urgent needs while keeping an eye to the future as the city grows. The COVID-19 pandemic continued to impact many aspects of our lives in 2021. Vaccines became available to most adults in the late winter and spring, but the Delta variant brought hospitalizations to a peak during the summer. As younger age groups started getting vaccinated, city staff continued to follow safety guidelines and supported vaccination efforts. Eugene Springfield Fire partnered with the University of Oregon, Bethel School District, and Lane County Public Health to assist with vaccination efforts across the community. With COVID-19 physical distancing requirements implemented statewide for much of the year, the City Council, boards and commissions, and city staff continue prioritizing community connections through virtual meeting environments, including public forums and hearings. After a long break from live performances and large audiences, the Holt Center began hosting shows again. With new safety requirements in place, the Holt has sold out shows while also offering COVID-19 testing on site for free to all community members, including rapid testing. New connections came in many forms in 2021. The past 2 years have highlighted how essential a consistent internet connection is for school, work, medical, and mental health checks. The Eugene Public Library Foundation and Friends of Eugene Public Library purchased and made available 250 Wi-Fi hotspots to be checked out by library card holders. And the library also expanded library card access to all students in the 4J and Bethel school districts. Cultural Services remain committed to working with community partners to activate downtown spaces, bringing art and fun to everyone. Visual Arts Week, National Dance Week, and Halloween Downtown all saw large participation, and window front exhibitions has kept vacant windows downtown full of vibrant art. As mask and distancing requirements created new challenges for people who need assistance hearing, the new hearing loop system, now available in the downtown Eugene Library as well as the airport, improved access for people with hearing needs. The Eugene Airport also added 3 new airlines that are now flying out of Eugene: Southwest, Avilo, and AHA. People in Lane County now have a new way to connect to help in emergency situations. The Central Lane Communications Center launched Text to 911, increasing access for people with hearing or speaking impairments, as well as situations where a crime is in progress. For the second year, Eugene Police connected with local kids through Safety Town Online. Virtual Safety Town taught kids about the importance of bike, fire, and animal safety, as well as much more. The City of Eugene and Whitebird Clinic partnered to connect people experiencing homelessness with primary and behavioral health care at the City of Eugene's Day Resource Center. The building was leased by the city and served as a home base for the city's pilot outreach program during the pandemic. Whitebird will continue to utilize the space as a medical clinic through the winter, and as the city's outreach pilot concluded, it has transitioned to providing space for community outreach for Radical Empowerment's outreach efforts to youth in our community. The city continued adapting its response to homelessness, an already significant issue, with additional challenges brought by the ongoing pandemic. As part of its plan to expand safe refuges for people experiencing homelessness, 3 new microsites and 5 new council-approved rest stops opened this year. Those sites created access to shelter and an opportunity for stability for more than 110 people. The council also approved the opening of new safe sleep sites. Nearly 90 people have already gotten off the streets at the first operating site, with more sites preparing to open. More than 900 people have been served by alternative shelters supported by the city this year. Temporary urban camps at Washington Jefferson Park and 13th Avenue were an answer to spreading unsanctioned camping after the start of the pandemic. A challenging situation for the city and the unhoused and housed alike. Staff have strived to monitor these locations, help connect people to services, uphold health and safety standards, and prepare people to move to safe, approved sites and return the spaces to their intended uses. Over 2021, the city further elevated coordination and partnerships with Lane County Human Services, the Chamber of Commerce, the business community, and many service providers. Homelessness impacts our entire community, and we're all working together to find sustainable ways to improve living conditions and stability for people experiencing homelessness. In coordination with Lane County, the city continues to support the development of more affordable housing, including more than 60 units of permanent supportive housing at the Commons on MLK and the Keystone, and 100 units of affordable housing at the Serang and Iris Place. Adding to the community's total housing stock can also make housing more affordable for everyone. 58 multifamily housing developments are actively under construction in Eugene. Building permit turnaround time improved during the pandemic, and the city's building permit services issued more than 8,100 permits in fiscal year 21, including 44 multifamily housing permits, and completed more than 52,000 inspections. The City Council approved an ordinance removing barriers to build accessory dwelling units or add on to existing structures. Coupled with the new pre-approved ADU plans now available, our community may see an increase in units available. In the fall, councilors approved terms for the redevelopment of 1059 Willamette Street as a mixed-income housing project where over half of the units must be affordable to low-income households. City staff continue developing the housing implementation pipeline with a goal to create 6,000 new units of housing by 2027. The housing implementation pipeline addresses a variety of housing needs, including shelter beds, low-income and mixed-income housing, and market-rate housing. City planning staff are also working to implement Oregon's middle housing law, requiring large cities to allow more housing types in more places. Staff commenced a robust public engagement process, including a community survey, focus groups, and the city's first lottery-selected panel. In addition to housing, public safety and police reform were also critical community priorities. In 2020, the City Council created the Ad Hoc Committee on Police Policy to review current police policies and recommended improvements. 10 organizations representing marginalized groups participated, finalizing a report in April of 2021. With an eye toward accountability in community safety, the city created a citizen advisory board to monitor the collection and spending of the Community Safety Initiative payroll tax. The board found use of the tax revenue met the objectives and was spent in compliance with the purpose of the tax. In June, the Eugene Police Department made significant changes to its use of force response reporting to include other interactions like the use of a taser or when a firearm is pointed at a person. This data can now be reported along with demographics. In the city's Office of Human Rights and Neighborhood Involvement, staff have designed and delivered multiple trainings to increase the promotion of equity and belonging among city employees and the community. The team also collaborates with community partners to promote a culture of belonging in the community and make sure the voices of community members are being heard by our local government. In a year with new and emergent needs, the city followed through on many long-term projects and commitments. 2021 saw increased safety for people walking and biking. The Northeast Eugene Livable Streets project created 8 enhanced crossings, updated sidewalk access ramps, and added pedestrian flashing beacons. And construction of a permanent pedestrian activated signal and median on Highway 99 provides a safe option for people crossing the highway and accessing the St. Vincent de Paul Lindholm Center. Using funding from street preservation bonds, crews rebuilt and resurfaced 15 streets, including the transformation of Willamette Street between 24th and 32nd Avenues, making it easier for people to safely walk, bike, bus, or drive in the South Willamette Shopping District. At the Eugene Airport, a new passenger jet bridge was added to the terminal, and Taxiway Bravo now has a new, safer configuration. 2 city programs were recognized with awards from the International City County Management Association. Eugene Springfield Fire's Young Women's Fire Camp was awarded the Community Equity and Inclusion Award while marking its 10th year serving young women in our area. And the Love Food Not Waste program earned the Community Sustainability Award for diverting thousands of pounds of food waste and creating locally produced compost. The city's Climate Action Plan 2.0 was developed to meet the goals outlined in the Climate Recovery Ordinance, and a new online dashboard allows community members to track progress toward those goals. To meet the Climate Recovery Ordinance goal of carbon neutrality for operation in 2020, the city purchased carbon offsets through the Climate Trust, investing in forest management projects in the Pacific Northwest. Eugene Police added eco-minded vehicles to their fleet, and Public Works began using an all-electric street sweeper to reduce emissions, one of the first cities in the country to utilize this emerging technology. Major transformation of Eugene's downtown riverfront is underway, and the community will soon enjoy a vibrant, active, and accessible riverfront district and community destination. When it opens in 2022, the Riverfront Park will drastically change the way we experience the Willamette River, and a new network of streets is in place to support construction of the first building at the downtown riverfront. The 2018 Parks and Recreation Bond and Levy continue to improve community assets. While some projects have experienced pandemic-related delays, this past year saw the completion of significant renovations at Echo Hollow Pool and Fitness Center, as well as the Campbell Community Center. Both facilities are creating a renewed sense of excitement and attracting new patrons with increased programming and improved spaces. Thanks to the operating levy, supporting park maintenance activities has also kept pace and adapted to ever-changing conditions. These investments in new amenities and increased service levels were leaned on heavily as parks and natural areas continue to see large numbers of people using the system for their physical, social, and mental health. As we look to the coming year, our community recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic continues. The city received $18 million from the American Rescue Plan Act, and with input from the Budget Committee, this funding will go toward shelter and unhoused response, affordable housing, fire services, child care, financial stability, and continued COVID-19 response. While pandemic-related delays have pushed out some construction timelines in 2021, we're excited to see many projects continue in 2022. Stryker Field and Lincoln School Park renovations will both see construction this year, adding new and improved outdoor recreation opportunities in areas that are long overdue. Major projects looking forward to opening this year include the renovated Sheldon Pool and Fitness Center, renovations to the 2.3-acre Berkeley Park, as well as the downtown Riverfront Park. This spring, community members will be welcomed to the city's new Farmers Market Pavilion, a permanent year-round location for the market and other community events. The pavilion is the first development in the city's town square concept plan, which reimagines the park blocks as a dynamic public place for the Eugene community to gather. All eyes will be on Eugene this summer for the World Athletics Championships Oregon 22 taking place at Hayward Field. A Riverfront Fan Festival will bring people together to celebrate in Tracktown, USA, and enjoy the hospitality of our community. 2021 was another dynamic year as we adapted to changing needs and timelines. As a community, we will continue moving forward to find solutions, make connections, and work together for all of Eugene.
Thank you. I see we are doing a slight change up here because we're understanding that Jenny Bennett of Summit Bank is available to join us, and we would like to give her a moment in the spotlight to accept her Bold Steps Award. So Jenny, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Mayor Vinis. We're sorry for the technical difficulties. We were all together in the conference room. Just wanted to let you know that this work is incredibly important to us. And our motto is, if you don't succeed, try again, and try to get 15% better a year. We're very honored to have been considered for this award with Pak Tech and Arcimoto. They are incredible corporate citizens. We just wanted to say a couple of thank yous. Thank you to Mayor Vinis and the City Council. Thank you to Devrin Musgrave. She's been wonderful, and she meets with us every year to talk about what we can do as a bank and a company to improve. Thank you to Sarah Mederi, who is killing it as the city manager. We love working with her. Thank you internally to Vicki Cousins, who is in charge of our internal green committee, and to Ashley Horner, who is the head of our small business administration, and she's a force to be reckoned with. And thank you to Craig Wanacek, who is our CEO, and his motto is to never give up, and we haven't. And just briefly, our goals for the microloan program were to break down barriers in banking, and in particular to lending to underprivileged groups in our community. And we promise as a company, we're going to continue to do that. Thank you so much. This really means a lot to us.
Thank you so much, Jenny. We're so glad you were able to join us. And now I'll invite you all to listen to Mayor Vinis as she delivers her 2022 State of the City address.
Thank you so much, Councilor Ye. Here we are together again in this all too familiar virtual space, embarking on an annual ritual, once again, altered by COVID. Thank you for joining me tonight, and thanks to all of you, city staff, elected officials, and all Eugenians who showed up every day, often in new ways, to bring us to this moment. While we have been reassured by the partial return of what was once normal, this new spike in COVID compels us to recognize that in the new normal, nothing is the same as it was. Our perspectives, our lives, and our city have been transformed by the experiences of the past 2 years. Tonight, I want to talk to you about some of those transformations, what we've seen already, and what is to come. As mayor, I have a ringside seat to witness not only the struggles, but also the humanity, the effort, and the effectiveness of the work that happens every day. People in this community step up where and when they are needed. While most Eugenians don't join in policy discussions, they do keep this community functioning every day. They work in our schools, our nonprofits, our businesses, large and small, our hospitals and factories, and for our city, state, and county. They work at home, on job sites, and out of delivery vehicles. And their concerns about educating their children, finding opportunities to grow and prosper, and living in safety and with respect are at the center of the work we do in this city every day. These Eugenians who have shown up despite all of the challenges of the past 2 years are the backbone and the heart of this city. Thank you again to all of you for your perseverance and your many contributions. As we begin to round the corner of this second year of COVID, we can recognize the powerful lessons of this time. I was once given critical advice. Don't make a long-term decision based on a short-term crisis. Initially, we approached the pandemic as a short-term crisis, employing specific and necessary actions: masks, vaccines, and physical distancing. These actions have been effective. But now, 2 years in, what we see emerging from the pandemic experience is an altered trajectory across the board. This shift from a short-term crisis into a long-term transformation resonates through all of our responses. It is hard to appreciate the impact of incremental progress when you are down in the trenches, working your way one day at a time through enormous challenges. We don't see the transformation coming. As with our new riverfront park, that you will all be able to enjoy very soon, the transformation from a narrow, fenced bike path to a graceful, arching greenway along the river will be startling because most of us weren't looking and didn't see the progress along the way. Where and how are the incremental changes of the past year transforming our community? What does transformation mean on the local level? And how is that transformation reflected in our ongoing work to address homelessness, climate change, and equity? I want to talk with you tonight about what the city is doing about each of these public concerns as we move from what we see now to what we envision for the future. Homelessness. Homelessness remains a critical issue for our city. As big as this concern felt to us a few years ago, it is now even bigger. And it is definitely not a short-term crisis. The pandemic increased the numbers, visibility, and impact of people who are unsheltered. But more importantly, it exposed the long-term challenge. Poverty is broad and deep in this community. It is not an aberration. It is a condition of half of our population, many of whom have either fallen into or are at risk of homelessness. The impact of homelessness is compounded by a serious meth epidemic and untreated mental illness that afflict many of the unsheltered people in our community who need long-term interventions. We see the terrible impacts on people who are unhoused, and we also see the troubling impacts on our business community, our downtown, our parks, and our sense of personal safety. The city has been bold, brave, and determined in implementing immediate solutions, most notably the creation of the safe sleeping sites. I liken the city to an emergency room. We respond to the homelessness emergency that is in our midst. But the long-term solution does not rest in sleep sites, in the emergency response. It rests in a much larger hospital of services that support recovery. In this light, our work is just beginning. We began with 10 recommendations adopted by Council in 2019 that aim to provide more beds, better outreach, more accurate data collection, and greater success in helping people move into stable lives. While the number of unsheltered people is now much greater than our data suggested a few years ago, the recommendations are still sound. The city's emergency response continues to build safer places for people to rest. And the people who take advantage of our rest stops, microsites, and safe sleeping areas are transforming their lives. Take, for example, Samuel, who moved into a rest stop managed by community-supported shelters after 10 years of living on the streets. His untreated bipolar disorder made it hard to hold down a job and pay his rent. The rest stop offered stability and gave him an address that in turn enabled him to collect 2 years of back disability payments and obtain his birth certificate and an Oregon ID. He is now looking for housing and looking forward to returning to college at LCC. People who are impoverished and troubled need the stability of a safe place to sleep, hope, and encouragement to begin their recovery. I am committed to 3 actions in the coming year. First, to continue to support and advocate for our critical nonprofit providers like community-supported shelters to enable them to pay adequate wages and train and supervise their teams. The city does not provide these direct services to assist people on our streets, but we can help make sure that our nonprofit community is able to invest in the people with the skills and expertise to assist our unsheltered folks in transitioning from streets to stable housing and thriving lives. Secondly, I will continue to push hard for greater investment in mental health. The city relies on our partners, including the state of Oregon, Lane County, and nonprofits like Cahoots and Whitebird, for this essential component of recovery. As part of our long-term response to homelessness, we joined with Lane County to invest in a permanent shelter, provide navigation services, and improve outreach to serve people where they are. Mental health is often connected to substance abuse. Addiction to meth, in particular, prevents people from stabilizing their lives and precipitates behavior that negatively impacts the safety and quality of life in some of our neighborhoods. In the past year, aggressive behavior by some people living in vehicles, particularly in West Eugene, have frightened and angered neighborhood businesses and residents. As my third commitment, I will make sure that we do not ignore these public safety impacts. Councilors and members of the public demand accountability, both from the people who benefit from our services and from police. Council has invested in both pathways through our increasing commitment to shelter and housing and to public safety to enable police to respond in a timely way to calls for help. We are grateful for the business, faith, and neighborhood groups who shoulder the day-to-day impacts and provide the insight and willingness to create a more effective, safe, and humane response. I will make sure that our responses to homelessness include both compassion for the unhoused and respect for the impacts on all our community members. Second, climate. Climate change is happening before our eyes. The raging fires and unprecedented heat waves we saw this year are likely our new norm, not an exception. More and more of us understand that we urgently need to reduce emissions and adapt to a new reality. Again, we need to do more than address crises. We need to transform how we live and do business. The dual challenges of climate change and population growth present great opportunities to walk that talk. What are the ways that a local government like the city of Eugene can address climate change and have the greatest impact on slowing it down? 2 of the key areas are housing, increasing both its density and energy efficiency, and energy policy, moving away from high impact to more sustainable sources. Where and how housing is constructed can reduce the climate impact of our growing population, and improving our housing stock will benefit the poorest among us who are the most severely impacted by climate change. We enter 2022 in the midst of several pivotal housing policy decisions. We are required by House Bill 2001 to allow more middle housing in the form of duplexes, triplexes, cottage clusters, and townhomes in our residential neighborhoods. Understandably, there is a lot of energy and tension around the proposed code changes and how existing neighborhoods might be affected. However, we cannot talk about climate change without talking about the housing forms we allow. We cannot talk about equity or address the housing shortage without increasing the quantity and diversity of the housing we have. The transformation has begun, and there are some wonderful examples. St. Vincent de Paul has completed housing for 53 households on River Road called Iris Place. This is affordable housing on a major corridor with access to buses. The units closest to the road have thicker walls and soundproof windows. They are quiet and filled with light. They're heated with efficient electricity and open to a central shared landscape and playground. They form a dense but attractive facade to River Road and complement the single-family lots farther back on the block. The city incentivized this housing. We provided the land, allocated federal home funds, and forgave system development charges to reduce the cost. This housing signals a change to River Road, a neighborhood that prides itself both for its rural quality and its willingness to reimagine itself to allow more housing and a safer pedestrian and biking environment. House Bill 2001 addresses the where of housing. Council also faces decisions about how housing is built to address climate change. Buildings are the second greatest users of fossil fuels and source of greenhouse gas emissions in the city. The Climate Action Plan 2.0, adopted by Council in 2021, includes 31 actions for addressing this impact. Energy policy is an area where the city can have a significant long-term impact on the climate crisis. Public discussion in 2021 circled around the negotiations with Northwest Natural. The City Council sought to tie our contractual agreement with the gas company for maintaining gas infrastructure to our policy goal of reducing fossil fuel use and emissions. Climate advocates criticized the negotiations as a waste of time. Proponents of natural gas worried that we would literally turn off the gas. Our intention is to find agreement where we can, but to push forward with essential transformation. The gas company's stated priority to decarbonize is significant, and we expect to see their progress in meeting those goals. My goal as mayor is to move as deliberately and quickly as we can toward electrification, but to do so realistically and fairly. It is a long-term transformation that arises from and builds on immediate actions. At the end of 2021, Council made two important decisions to explore code changes in 2022 that would require electrification of all new construction, and to develop a roadmap for decarbonizing existing buildings. We are fortunate that EWEB is our electric utility and that most of our local electricity comes from hydropower. While Council considers code changes, we recognize that certain industries, like our breweries, wineries, and coffee roasters, for example, depend on natural gas. Not every industry or commercial operation can make this shift. Capacity is also a concern. Increasing demand for electricity may result in increasing cost as EWEB navigates the energy market. In 2021, I convened a mayor's business advisory board to inform our thinking about the pressing issues in our community. These business leaders are already offering insights about the scope and impact of Council's decisions related to building energy uses and costs. The Climate Action Plan 2.0 sets our course and requires us to change business as usual. The city prepares the landscape for that transformation with investments in transportation, land use policies, and building codes. We promote community participation in waste prevention, energy efficiency, and alternatives to cars. but none of the changes will come easily. There's hope in the widespread calls for faster action. Policy changes get more traction when citizens make their voices heard. Americans also love technology. We are early and eager adopters. We're ready to transform our lives when new ideas make life more comfortable and safer. Here in Eugene, we have our own electric vehicle company and now see Arcimotos buzzing around all over town. National and state policies are both pushing us forward and supporting electrification. In 2021, I was appointed to the EPA's Local Government Advisory Council, expanding our voice in national policy discussions. My focus in that council is on air quality and climate change. I see it as an opportunity to explore ways in which our city can better address the pollution and climate impacts in our poorer neighborhoods. In particular, Bethel and Trainsong are disproportionately affected by poor air quality, and much of the housing is not adequately heated and cooled. As we consider future climate change actions, this and other parts of town could become a focus for more trees, more control over industrial pollutants, promotion of energy efficiency, conversion to electric, and weatherization. And that brings me to my third area, equity. Equity and racial justice. Everyone does not feel safe in this community. That message came through loud and clear in 2020 and in the discussions and final report of the Ad Hoc Committee on Police Policies in 2021. This past year recorded an increase in hate and bias crimes, particularly directed at Black and Asian Americans. These are troubling facts which must be addressed. Community surveys and public testimony have stressed the need for alternatives to armed police officers to avoid triggering trauma among fragile members of our community. National recognition of cahoots reinforced the call for greater mental health awareness and expertise in our public safety teams. We are acting on those requests in budget appropriations this year by exploring alternative responses to police and committing to a greater number of unarmed community service officers. At the same time, the increase in hate crimes and crime in general calls on us to invest in a well-trained and well-supported police department. Police officers provide us with an essential and irreplaceable expertise and skill in responding to crime. We opened tonight with a land acknowledgement in recognition of the city's racist past. We aim to shift that trajectory. The equity panel formed as part of the Climate Action Plan informs the city about climate and our transportation, housing, and land use policies. Council has had the first of 2 meetings to discuss reparations, passed a resolution condemning anti-Asian speech and acts, and passed an ordinance banning the symbol of a noose as a crime of intimidation. I am working with the city manager and staff to transform our interactions with tribal leadership into a formal and respectful government-to-government relationship. 2021 was also the inaugural year for the Mayor's Youth Advisory Council, a diverse, high-energy, thoughtful group of high school students who are turning their attention to hate and bias, as well as mental health and homelessness. They will bring those insights to council. Although the acronym BIPOC has come to be a shorthand for acknowledging the communities that experience inequity in Eugene and elsewhere, the specific stories of Black American descendants of slavery, Indigenous people who were dispossessed of their land in North America, and immigrants from all parts of the world represented as people of color, each have unique and distinctive stories and losses. Shifting from erasure to truth-telling must respond to all of those different narratives and communities. In the words of Nobel Peace Prize nominee Sheila Watt-Cloutier, who spoke at the University of Oregon last spring, things will change at the speed of empathy and trust. Getting there requires us to understand and accept our past. I asked for Michael Moloi to perform tonight because his performance and his life in our community show us the way. Through art, music, spoken word, and dance, we see each other through new eyes. This year, we'll bring the world to Eugene to attend the Oregon 22 World Athletics Championship in July. Our new Riverfront Park will host the Free Fan Festival, during the 10-day event at Hayward Field. It will be our time at last to demonstrate to the world our capacity for facing the transformative challenges of our era, to model solutions to homelessness, to lead in responding to climate change, and to honor and celebrate the many communities within our community. As we move into 2022, we are not just recovering from a series of crises. Our city is using the tools available to us to find pathways, perspectives, and ideas that will transform us. It's essential, but not enough, to shelter people from the cold. We must envision and work towards a city where everyone has and can afford a safe place to live. It's essential, but not nearly enough, to cut back our carbon emissions. We must forge a world in which humanity is truly carbon neutral and sustainable on our one and only planet. And it's essential, but not enough, to make sure Black and brown people are safe on our streets. We must build a community and a world in which diversity is our most valued characteristic. This is never easy, because we are a large and complex society that adapts and changes in small steps. We can be slow to find common ground. Transformation is incremental and hard to see. We will get there only by continuing to work together with urgency, compassion, and wisdom at the speed of empathy and trust. I look forward to continuing on this path with all of you.
Thank you, Mayor Vinis. As we close tonight, we will welcome back to center stage Michael Moloi and company. We made a slight mistake. The first piece that we all enjoyed was actually entitled Peace. And this last one that will close us out is called Sanibonani, which interpreted from Zulu means greetings.
Sanibonani, that just simply means, hello, how are you? And you, You were supposed to say, hello, how are you? Hello, how are you? Hello, how are you? Hello, how are you? Hello, hello, how are you? Hello, hello, how are you? Hello, hello, how are you? Gotta put your hands together now. I say, hello, hello, how are you? Hello, hello, how are you? Hello, hello, how are you? Hello, hello. What a say, kupul. Hello, hello, how are you? Hello, hello, how are you? Hello, hello, how are you? Hello, hello. What's that? Hello, hello, how are you? Hello, hello, how are you? Hello, hello, how are you? What's that, mama? Say, kupul, pero. Hold that. Thank you.
I love that performance. Thank you so much, Michael Moloi, for joining us and your whole group. What a great performance. What a wonderful night. Thank you all very much for joining us tonight. And we hope you have a good night and we wish you a very happy new year. Thank you all and good night.